Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we're first going to begin with the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, thank you. Om Gyanartimiyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakchurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitanyena Bhutaye Swayam Rupa Kadadmayam Drati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunath Tam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sarvitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Trubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before again speaking for today's class, first of all, I'd like to seek your blessings, but also to invoke the auspicious blessings of the Supreme Lord and to pay our obeisances. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'd like to seek your blessings to all the devotees who are here and to those who may be listening online, that with your blessings I may be able to speak something worthwhile and we can all learn something new today and have some purification. Vancha kalpa drubhascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we're first going to start with the Sanskrit recitation. This is chapter 18, text number 57. So the Sanskrit sloka is on the screens. Chetasa savarkarmani Mai sanyasya matparaha Buddhi yoga mapasritya Machita satatam bhava Chetasa savarkarmani Mai sanyasya matparaha Buddhi yoga mapasritya Machita satatam bhava Chetasa savarkarmani Mai sanyasya matparaha Buddhi yogam upasritya Machita satatam bhava. Would anyone like to try the Sanskrit recitation? Okay. Would like to do? Chetasa sarva karmani Mai sanyasya matparaha Buddhi yoga mupasritya Machita satatam bhava. Chetasa sarva karmani Matparaha Buddhi yoga mupasritya Machita satatam bhava. So we'll do the word for word and the translation. Chetasa, by intelligence. Sarva karmani, all kinds of activities. Mai, unto me. Sanyasya, giving up. Matparaha, under my protection. Buddhi yogam, devotional activities. Apasritya, taking shelter of. Machitaha, in consciousness of me. Satatam, 24 hours a day. Bhava, just become. Okay. And the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So if you'd like to please repeat after me. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me and purport. When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant, acting on behalf of the Supreme Master, is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna. But when Krishna is not present, how should one act? if one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matparaha is very important in this verse. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. That order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. So I'll just repeat the translation one more time. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Okay. So this is chapter 18, text number 57. So here we have Krishna giving instructions. So as Sri Prabhupada highlights in the purport, a very important word is matparaha, under my protection. So here Krishna is he's saying that he will actually give us protection. In the 18th chapter also, it says Sarva Dharma Parityagya Mamekam Saranam Vraja Aham Sam Sarve Papebhyo Moksme Yasyami Nasuchaha, that just surrender, just abandon all varieties of religions and surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So this is what Krishna says, that simply just surrender unto him. But of course there's a process. And the purport Sri Prabhupada mentions about the spiritual master. So simply in any field of life, if we want to learn something, there's usually a teacher and a student. So if we go to university, we have a lecturer, a professor. So in terms of spiritual life, it's non-different. So even in the Mahabharata, we see the Pandavas for their in terms of their education, they had teaching and so on in terms of their Kshatriya training. And in the course of the higher knowledge, we can see this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna. So just to actually understand what is the actual nature of the soul and the way it is in this material world in terms of the body, the soul and so on, and our relationship with the Supreme. So it said that there's these different elements in the material world: earth, water, air, fire and ether. So these are the material elements which comprise the body. So the body is made of these 5 elements. And then it's also, these are 5 gross elements. then there's also three subtle elements. So these are the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. So the mind actually is what comprises of our emotions and so on. So this is subtle. And we all have an ego. So an ego is a sense of identification, and the false ego is a sense of false identification. So in this material world, we're under this illusion of false identification. So as Lord Chaitanya, he is Lord Shri Krishna, who appeared 500 years ago to spread the Sankirtan movement. Namo Maha Vadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauri Svase Namaha. That Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is Krishna himself, who has appeared in a golden complexion in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and in this incarnation he is spreading love of God to everyone. So he's spreading the most mercy to the chanting of the holy name. And when we think of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the chanting of the holy name, this is what we call the Sankirtan movement, the congregational chanting of the holy name. So in Lord Chaitanya's prayers, Shashastakam, he has said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nivarpanam Shreya Kareva Chandrika Vataranam Vidya Vada Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadan Pumram Ritsta Vadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. That this Sankirtan movement, it is a supreme benediction for all humanity, and it cleanses the heart of all that material contamination which has been there for many, many years. And it also quells the fire of material existence. So as we spoke about the body earlier, so the soul is within the body, but can you also tell me what else is within the body? We have our individual soul, mind, intelligence, yeah. But there's something else which sits in our heart. Krishna, yes. So it's said in the Vedic literature that it's like two birds on a tree. So we have one bird, it's simply just eating the fruits, enjoying the fruits. So this tree is the tree of this material world. We're here and we're trying to enjoy in this material world. And Krishna is just simply observing. So Krishna is the other bird as a super soul. And Krishna is just observing and taking note. So Krishna he's our well-wisher. He wants us to pay more attention to him, but he can't force us. So we have this false ego, this false sense of identification, and under this influence, we become sidetracked to our real purpose. Prakriti kriyamana ni guni karma savarsaha ahankara vibundatma. So ahankara vimudatma. So this is the false sense of identification, the false ego. So the spirit soul, bewildered by this influence as false ego, thinks itself to be the doer of activities, which in actuality are carried out by the three modes of material nature. So these three modes of material nature are goodness, ignorance, and passion. So these three modes of material nature, they're kind of like, if you think of the three primary colors, if you're a painter, so everything in this material world is different mixtures and combinations of these three primary colors. So these are these three modes of material nature: goodness, ignorance, and passion. So that's Raja, Tama, and Sattva. So under these influence of these material modes, we take on so many different identifications, and we identify. We think we are that. So we think. Oh, they said that there's so many different species in this material world. Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhakti Prakriti Janganan Shishi Radhakahunan Ki Shishi Sitaram Laxman Hanuman Ki Shishi Gornitai Ki Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. That in this material world we enjoy the different ways of life through the modes of material nature, and thus we meet with good and evil among various species. So we receive basically the dualities of this material world through these 8,400,000 different species. These are all the different animals, plants, aquatics, and all the way up to the human form of life. So it's a long progression to get to the human form of life. It said Punaravartino Arjuna, that Brahma Bhuvanal Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mamu Petya Tukunteya, that in this material world, all the way up to the highest planets, we're talking about the whole universe, including the heavenly planets, down to the hellish planets. They're all places of suffering, wherein repeated birth and death take place. So even up to what we call the higher heavenly planets, they're still not aloof from the whole material world. It's still within the material creation. So we have the lower planets, and which are more like the hellish planets. The hellish planets are basically for the rectification, where souls go to burn off karma, and they experience as suffering, and then they gradually come up back through the different species of life to the human form of life. And in this human form of life, it's so rare, because even in the heavenly planets, it's very, life is very literally heavenly, very nice. But within that, in terms of the heavenly atmosphere, it's very difficult to think of actually Krishna, because it's still sense gratification. So it's still sense enjoyment on the highest degree, on a more refined level. So, and in terms of heavenly planets, it's just the accumulation of karma, good karma. So when that karma runs out, one has to come back to this material world after so much time. So the best course of action is to realize what is the actual situation in this world. That we have our spirit soul, which has its own nature, which is that of a servant. Mame vamso jivaloke jiva buddha sanatana. That all these different souls are eternal, parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. So we're eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We can never become the Supreme Lord. We have an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And in this relationship, that's where we actually become most happy. In this material world, the soul is just like a fish out of water. So it's not finding any real enjoyment. Srila Prabhupada spoke about the enjoyment in this material world is like a camel that's eating these leaves, but it doesn't realize that there's thorns there, and it's chewing the thorns, and then it's thinking that, this is nice, but it doesn't realize it's actually tasting its own blood from the thorns. So this is the nature of material enjoyment, that it simply causes suffering in that sense. The real goal of life is to, of course, our loving relationship with Krishna, but to actually become free from this material world, we have to become free from the cycle of repeated birth and death. So within this material world, we're simply eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So defending is our security, our household, our work, and so on. So we try to have all these necessities, and these necessities are the same things which are actually in the animal kingdom. So this is so ingrained in our consciousness, but in time we have to actually to realize that there's a higher duty, and all these can be dovetailed towards our relationship with Krishna. It's not that we neglect. We have to look after our body. It's like a machine, a car. So yancha rudani maya, that it's just simply a machine made of the material energy, a very complex machine, and like a car, we have to take care of it. It said nachis nasta to yogosti nachikantamas nasnataha nachapni silasya nachati snapya silasya jagratone vacharjana. That if one eats too much or does not even eat enough, if one sleeps too much or does not sleep enough, then he will not be a yogi. So we have to be regulated. It's very important. So it said, Ishvara Savrabhutanam Radishi Arduna Tistadi, that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. And in terms of this Supreme Lord in the heart, we initially can't take shelter of the Supreme Lord. We're simply, we can't have direct realization of the Supreme Lord. So it said, Tesam Sadata Yuktanam Bhatatam Pritikur Purvakam Dadami Buddha Yogam Svam Yenamam Upayantite, that the one who constantly is devoted to serving with love, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. So from the super soul in the heart, Chaham Riddhi Sanifisto Matahas Smitram Ginama Pohanam Cha, that from the super soul comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Krishna will give us knowledge based on our sincerity. If we really want Krishna, then we will get Krishna. But if we want to be cheated, then we will be cheated. So that's the nature of the material world. That it said, Yeyatamam prabhadyante tam sadeva bhajamyaham, that a soul surrender unto me, mama vartmanu vartante manusya partha sarvasaha, that Krishna will reward us all accordingly. So as we surrender unto Krishna, he'll reciprocate with us. But the problem is that we try to surrender unto our senses rather than Krishna, and we don't understand that to distinguish between knowledge and illusion. So it said, Tatvavitu Mahabaho Guna Karma Vyagayo Guna Ganesha Vartanta Iti Matma Nasajite, that one who is actually knowledge of me does not engage in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work and devotion and work for fruitive activities. So fruitive activities, these are material activities which give us fruits in material life. But work and devotion, that's the real work which will actually cleanse our heart. So Krishna says, he says, whatever you do, Yadasnasi, Yad Karosi Yadasnasni, Yad Jehosi Dadasi Yat. Whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever austerities you perform, do that Samnakuntari as an offering unto me. So Krishna wants us to simply just to work for him. Whatever we do can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. And in terms of the super soul, the one who gives us knowledge, that's the spiritual master. So the spiritual master is the representative of the super soul. So the super soul in the heart is it's called the Chaitya Guru. But the spiritual master is a representation, he's a representative of Krishna. So he is basically the living, representation of the super soul. So in terms of us actually trying to find that knowledge to become realized, we have to seek shelter of a spiritual master. So Tad Vini Praniprat. Yes, Boo, you have a question? Yeah. Yeah.
And so for someone who's not initiated, I just see Prabhupada as the spiritual master.
Yeah.
And with Krishna, it's quite obvious. He's asking for your love, your bhakti when you're serving him. So it's not to do with the action, it's to do with the feeling behind the action when you're serving Krishna.
Yeah.
It can be anything, a fruit, a flower.
Actually, sorry, Boo. Maybe I'll just give you this microphone. I got it prepared. Sorry, maybe you can start again.
Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to get some more understanding regarding when we're serving a spiritual master. With Krishna, it's quite clear. He's given the instruction, you serve me with bhakti. It's not the action because everything is Krishna's anyway. So
Yeah.
you're just giving him back what is his in a small portion.
Yeah.
But when we're serving Prabhupada, he's no longer here in this material world.
Yeah.
And so how can we be sure that the action we're doing, even if we're doing it out of love, we can't be sure it's pleasing to him because his instruction is maybe different to what Krishna's is. Krishna is just asking for your love in service and you do the action, surrendering it to him. But with Prabhupada, to serve Prabhupada, we're trying to preach or spread Krishna consciousness and the movement of Mahaprabhu. So how can we be sure that when we're doing these actions, we're actually pleasing Prabhupada? Because it's, you might do something to try and propagate ISKCON, the movement, but not be unsuccessful at it. And would that be pleasing to Prabhupada, just the fact that you tried, or would it be that, no, you were unsuccessful, so it wouldn't have pleased the person?
Yeah, thank you for that question. First of all, to say that when we think of Krishna and Sri Prabhupada, in terms of their instruction, there's no differentiation, because when we think of the spiritual master, he's the representative, so his instruction is Krishna's instruction. So that's one point, is that for us the spiritual master is not different than Krishna, that he's in the disciplic succession. First there was Krishna, and then after that, it continues. So in the spiritual succession all the way up to Krishna. So in that line, the instruction is non-different. So Sri Prabhupada was simply an instrument for Krishna, and whatever we do, it will be no endeavor will go in vain. It said nahi bikrama nasosti napratyavaya navijate swapamapasya dharmajaya treyato mahadpo bayat, that a little endeavor on this path can save one from the most dangerous type of fear. So every little endeavor is recognized by Krishna. When we think of in the Mahabharata, Draupadi, she did something which was seemed to be so insignificant, that Krishna cut his hand one day, and she tore off a piece of her sari and used it as a bandage. And then after that, the Kurus were trying to disrobe Draupadi, and what happened was it manifested unlimited sarity. So Krishna, he magnifies everything. So, and if we please the spiritual master, that's not different than pleasing Krishna. And if the devotees are pleased, Krishna is pleased. So, and Krishna is, because the devotees are so dear to Krishna, when they're pleased, he's even more pleased. When we commit offense against a devotee, Krishna takes that very seriously. But if we commit offense against Krishna, he doesn't take it so serious. So that's Krishna's nature. He loves his devotees more than himself. Yeah. Yes, please. Maybe if you like the microphone. Thank you, Boo.
Yeah, there's 2 verses in the chapter 4. It says, first it says, "But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For doubting a soul, there is happiness neither in this world or the next." But the following verse, it says, "One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his action, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated actually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches." So that sort of says we don't have, we renounce the acts of our work, we just do them for Krishna. We follow the devotional service practices.
Thank you. I might make a comment on that as well.
Yes, certainly.
It says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tasmara jnana sambhutam ritstam jnana samatmanaha chitvenam samitam yogam atisto tista bharataha. That these doubts, all these doubts which have arisen out of ignorance, can be slashed with a sword of knowledge. And as we said earlier, Om Jnana Timyandasya Gananjana Slakaya Chakshumritanina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. That is the spiritual master who I was born into ignorance, but the spiritual master has taken away that darkness born of ignorance with the shining light of knowledge. So it's through that knowledge of the spiritual master, Sadhu, Guru and Shastra, but the spiritual master imparts that knowledge onto us and pulls us out of illusion. If it's okay, there's just, oh yes, Boo, if you have one more question.
And when we're talking about devotional service, we're talking about the 9 forms of bhakti. But what about the majority of people who are living their lives in a sort of a household or grihastha environment, where a lot of their actions are not devotional service? They could be going out to do family activities, taking their kids somewhere, doing some service for their parents and things like this. So when we talk about, when Krishna's saying to do all activities and depend on me, and work always under my protection and in such devotional service. So just trying to understand, when we talk about devotional service, surely it doesn't apply to every action that you're doing, because there could be actions in the day where these are just mundane material activities to sustain, as opposed to actually doing this service for Krishna.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the thing that when I said that earlier, Yad Karosi Yad Asnasi, that whatever we do for Krishna. So whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer. So the thing is that we dovetail everything to Krishna. That it's all based on our intention. So in terms of our family life, we raise our family in terms of in relation to Krishna. So our work, all our activities, everything at every moment can be dovetailed to Krishna. So as I said earlier, Tatvavitu Mahabaho Guna Karma Vivagayo Guna Ganesha Vartanta Iti Matba Nasajite, that for one who's in knowledge, that they don't partake in the senses and sense gratification. So it's based on the intention. We're not enjoying, but we're trying to engage in devotional service. So that's the thing, that every activity is important, whether it's looking after children, family, school, recreation. Still, we have to be balanced and dovetail everything into a balanced life in Krishna consciousness. So it has to be regulated, and nothing can be, not one moment can be bereft of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think obviously the answers explains it quite well. Excuse me. Sorry. So when we're in an environment, we just try and focus our mind on Krishna. As long as our mind is on Krishna,
Yeah.
it really does help to perform that action towards Krishna.
Yeah. Of course, we have to actually to partake of things which are, beneficial. We can't be whimsical. So we have to do things which are beneficial to our Krishna consciousness. That's the thing, that things that are necessary. So not to just to enjoy or partake of whimsical activities. Like we look after the body, but we avoid, like Sri Prabhupada to give us instructions not to watch television or shows, kind of cinema and stuff, films like that, because there's no practical benefit for us unless it's devotional. So that's the thing, not to partake of whimsical activities. There's just I'm not sure if that's helps you.
No, definitely.
Just before we finish, yes, Rajbu, sorry.
Thank you, Damodar Das Prabhu. Quick question is, why is it that Krishna is in our heart, but ultimately, why does it take so long before we get that realization that Krishna is in our heart? Or is it actually that we have to make Krishna in our heart?
Yeah, that Krishna is already there, but we have to realize Krishna. And it's based on our endeavor that so that's why we have to take shelter of someone who's in knowledge, because otherwise we'll get lost on the path. Krishna is always there, and the super soul interacts with us, but the super soul will help us to find that teacher, spiritual master. So if we're sincere, and then in time we'll fully realize Krishna.
Thank you.
There was a quote about that regarding it's like if a mirror is really dirty, then the dirtier it is, the longer it takes to clean. So once the mirror is fully clean, you can clearly see the reflection. But until you clean that mirror and get rid of the dirt, so our soul is quite dirty, and depending on the level of dirt and the level of Maya that we've been influenced by, that sort of relates to how long it might take you to purify yourself and to come to maybe that consciousness of accepting Krishna.
Yeah, like we said earlier, that it Chetodarpana Marjanam, it cleanses the dust on the mirror, and so it talks about the spiritual master as well, that the spiritual master can. So there's the Sankirtan movement quells the fire of material existence, the blazing fire. So this uncomfortable material existence, and we sing every morning, Samsara Davana Lalida Luka Tranaya Karunya Gana Navatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunar Navasya Vande Guru Shri Charnar Vindam. That the spiritual master, he's the ocean of mercy for us. So like a rain cloud, if you see these big forest fires, that the fire brigades, nothing can actually can stop them, but it's only the actual clouds like the elements. So the spiritual master is like a merciful rain cloud that he helps to subdue the fire of material existence more than that nothing else can actually do. So he's the ocean of mercy. Yeah. Before we finish, I'd like to mention, in terms of, it says under my protection. So it said Ananias Jintayanto mam purgyeganam purparsate tesam niche bhutanam yogashimam vahamiham. That Krishna says that those who meditate exclusively on my transcendental form, to those I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. And this is very evident in the Mahabharata, in the lives of Arjuna and the Pandavas, that just in the battle of Kurukshetra alone, that first of all Arjuna was fighting this prolific warrior called Bhaktivedanta on this big elephant called Trika. So Bhaktivedanta had this like a dart called the Vaishnav dart, and he threw it straight for Arjuna. Arjuna didn't realize, but this dart could kill anyone. And Krishna stood up in front of Arjuna when this dart was being thrown, and he just stood up, and the dart went for Krishna's chest, and it turned into a garland and landed on Krishna. So Krishna protects his devotees, and it wasn't by Arjuna's own endeavor that he could have survived. It was only Krishna, actually. Also, Arjuna said he would enter fire if he didn't kill Jayadratha. And then Krishna, when it looked impossible, he used his Sudarshan chakra to cover the sun. And then afterwards, Arjuna was able to, on Krishna's instruction, to slay Jayadratha. Also with Ashvatthama, Ashvatthama sent the Brahmastra, which was full of weapons. They didn't know what to do. Krishna told them to just lie on the ground and don't fight it. And then they were saved. And then when that was baffled, Ashvatthama also used this Agneya weapon. And this was a strong fire weapon. And then by Krishna's mercy, it just went over Krishna as well, or Arjuna as well, just by Krishna's potency. So there's so many different occasions. And also with Karna, also as well with Karna and Bhishma. Bhishma had these 5 arrows, and they were imbued with his full aesthetic prowess to kill the 5 Pandavas. But Krishna again baffled their attempts. Also with Karna, Karna had a dart from Indra, and Krishna pushed the chariot into the ground and it flew over Arjuna's head. So that's so many occasions that they were completely dependent on Krishna, and he overcame the impossible obstacles. So that's a hope for us, that in the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita says that whenever Krishna is present, there's extreme opulence and so on, so that we keep Krishna with us. And by his mercy we can overcome the obstacles. This material, the most material nature, very hard to overcome, but by the mercy of Krishna, one can easily overcome it. So thank you very much for your kind attention.